jumped in to help a complete stranger is on the ground. But incredibly, the gun jams repeatedly.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
November 20th, 2015, New Orleans, Louisiana, 4 a.m. A surveillance camera captures a woman stumbling down Mary Street. Seconds later, the scene turns to horror.
What you see is this guy dragging this woman down the block, potentially to be sexually assaulted and raped.
He's trying to force the woman into a car. But at that very moment, a man crossing through the intersection on Margaret Street just happens to see what's going on.
He stops, backs up, turns down the street where this man is dragging this woman. He gets out of his car, trying to help this woman out.
That's when things get really scary.
The guy shot him in the stomach.
Shots have been fired, and the man who jumped in to help a complete stranger is on the ground. But incredibly, the gun jams repeatedly.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
As witnesses frantically dial 911.
Got witnesses stating that they heard a pop. Gentleman shot 1 time in the stomach.
The gunman gives up and flees the scene in this SUV. The woman who he violently dragged down the street appears to be in a state of complete shock. Police respond quickly, rushing both her and the man who tried to save her to the hospital. It turns out the man who's been shot is 25-year-old aspiring doctor Peter Gold, a 4th-year medical student at Tulane University, and he's instantly hailed as a hero.
The doctors had told my parents that there was not a very high chance that I was going to survive. 2 days after surgery, I woke up and my friends and my family were all sitting around my bed in the ICU.
And on October 31st, 2016, Uric Kane is sentenced to 54 years behind bars for Peter's shooting and for kidnapping and raping a couple the next day. In a statement, Peter says the ordeal has left him in disbelief, saying he's lucky to be alive, and there is no reason for this terror.
I had to get shot in the stomach to really put myself into someone else's shoes and realize that society has failed somebody like him.
Peter, along with the friends who kept vigil at his bedside, start a foundation called Strong City, which partners with organizations that help at-risk youth.
Our goal is working at the root of the problem, trying to give mentorship and guidance, opportunity to kids so that eventually they don't turn into 20-year-olds that want to act violently. I don't feel like a hero, no. I think of it as being in the wrong place at the right time, but I'm happy that I was able to be there at the exact time that he was dragging her down the street, and I'm just very lucky and very grateful to come out on the other side, unscathed and in some ways stronger than I was before.
But to everyone else, there's no question that what Dr. Peter Gold did that night is definitely heroic. It's just after 12:30 p.m. in Bradenton, Florida, when a man walks into a pharmacy hiding under a hoodie with a rag over his face. He doesn't seem to care that a customer is already talking to the pharmacist behind the counter.
This guy jumps up on the counter, starts making an furtive movement towards his waistband.
But what this robber doesn't realize is that this other customer is the pharmacist's boyfriend, who happens to be a Florida State boxing champion. And he's not about to let any danger come to his girlfriend. As the 2 men wrestle, banging into pharmacy displays, the robber's shirt is pulled right off his back.
I had no other choice. I started throwing punches. It was pure instinct. There's no way in hell I'm gonna let him get my girl.
As if a full-fledged, hardcore boxing fight has just gone down.
There was so much blood on the ground. We later found out that he had a ruptured eardrum, a broken nose, broken facial bones.
But that's when the unexpected happens.
This guy just tried to rob a store, and this man's crying to me, like begging for me to let him go. He's like, oh, crap. I might never see my daughter again. Well, I felt bad. I felt extremely bad.
Still, David knows he can't just let the robber go. So before police arrive and arrest him, he offers some advice.
I told him this is gonna change his life. I said, this is your turning point. Looked right at the guy and I said, you know what? I feel like he just needs help.
Believe it or not, this is the same man who jumped onto the counter in that hoodie and is seen in this mugshot.
I was 26, almost 27 years old. I'd never had a speeding ticket. I'd never been in trouble. I had no criminal record. I was an air conditioning technician. I wasn't a bad guy, but I'd say about 6 months before the incident happened, my dad was ran over by a car. I just fell into a reckless streak, and all of a sudden, I don't know, I woke up one day and I was an addict.
The fight with David left Rob with a 6-inch scar on his forehead and a ruptured eardrum. But he says even if he was out of it, he was never actually knocked unconscious.
He did beat me up, but I didn't get knocked out. All right, I had enough pain medicine and enough opiates in me that you couldn't knock me out.
Now, Rob is married to the same woman who left him right before the pharmacy incident, and they have 2 young children. He also owns his own business. His message to David?
Sorry I tried to rob your girlfriend on Valentine's Day. I mean, thanks for splitting my head open and rupturing my eardrum, But honestly, I'm grateful. I mean, I really am. It's one of the best things that ever happened.